I had the fortunate opportunity of working with a very large direct field sales team and channel team. And my job was basically just, besides just sit there, I worked directly with these sales teams. And they were all UCAS. And one of the things that I saw basically in working with these sales teams was I saw that an industry was changing, and it was changing so fast that the sales guys and the channel guys could not keep up. They just could not keep up with the product guys and the engineering guys. So basically what you have in this scenario is you have a bunch of product and engineering guys who basically are developing and building products so fast, but the sales team cannot keep up and understand what product and engineering are building. So basically what you have companies out there now, and you can tell who these companies are. You have companies out there who are very strong sales and marketing companies, right? And they might not be strong in engineering, they might not be strong in product, but you know what? They can sell better than anybody. And they're the ones driving all the revenue, where you have other companies who are really strong technically and they got a great product, but they can't sell. And in today's market, you can tell who these companies are. And the idea is you gotta bring balance. And especially in the UCAS space, and especially in this industry, I think I see too many people selling phones. Because right now, the way people are selling, and again, I worked with over 200 salespeople, channel and field, in a very large publicly traded company, and I was the guy who was responsible for helping educate them on all the different products, from APIs, from workflow, from UCAS. So I was kind of like this layer that just sat there. And I got to interact with all the salespeople who, a lot of these salespeople used to work for some of your companies, and vice versa. So, and this industry, it changes. All the salespeople, they jump from company to company to company, and they go from this company to that company, and they all have the same problem. All they know how to sell is dial tone, but you got product guys and engineering guys developing and putting all this stuff out, but they don't even know how to sell it. So what's the point of you guys building and doing all this stuff if your salespeople can't even sell it? Building a sales team at scale, trying to hire these guys, it's very hard if you don't have salespeople who are not somewhat technical. And again, for those of you guys who are trying to build those multi-million-dollar businesses, you're only gonna have, if you're lucky, 1 or 2 solid A players. Because if they're really good, they're gonna leave and go start their own business. That's really what happens with them. So, and if you look at what's happening in the space, especially for customers, the businesses, they are so confused. The cloud, if you look at how many products that are out there, by the time the business from the cloud perspective, all the different things they need from security, things they need from CRM, email collaboration, networking, SD-WAN, add all those things in, it's overwhelming. And it's just like, you almost have to kind of paint a picture and a lot of us, what we've done is we've verticalized everything. We said, oh, you're in healthcare, or you're in retail, or you're in this. And what I'm saying is, not that approach doesn't work, but what I'm saying is, if you look at departments, so what I like to do, and this is my belief, for the longest time, everybody's been trying to sell to IT, the CTO, and all these guys, right? And what I've recognized over the past 3 years and 4 years, there's 2 people within the company who are probably spending more money than the CTO or the CIO or any of those guys, because they're buying so many products for Salesforce, and they're buying LinkedIn Navigator, and they're buying all of these tools for their sales team, because the CEO is so desperate for him to bring in revenue. He's like, here's the credit card, just go buy whatever you need to drive sales. And then the CMO, he's buying Pardot, he's buying HubSpot, he's buying AdWords, he's buying LinkedIn ads. The amount of money those 2 people are spending is out of control. And their budgets just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So what I'd like to do is, a lot of people go and sell to the IT guy. You want to sell by UCAS phone. So what I've done, and Dave knows this, when I was at this last company, I swear to you, true story, saw a chief revenue officer, 10,000 seat customer, 10,000 seats. Typically a deal that size would take 2 years. And the funny thing is, I didn't even make any money off this deal. I went and saw the chief revenue officer, and I know this guy, his biggest problem is he's got a massive sales organization. And they were on Salesforce and they were on Google. And I went to him and I said, listen, what if you could basically aggregate all your data and visualize it? And I showed him an example how we could visualize the data. The question that came out of his mouth next, what phone system do I need to be on? It was a 10,000 seat deal, true story. It's a published case study out there. Within 6 months, that guy signed a contract. Because what he wanted, that he didn't know he wanted, and here's the most important part. The chief revenue officer went to the IT guy and said, we're moving phones. And the IT guy's like, what? That's not in my plan. Guess what? Who do you think won? Right? The IT guy, and when I say the IT guy, I'm saying it in very general sense, has become a cost center. So he's always looking at a way how to reduce costs, and so because he doesn't have any direct way to contribute revenue. You're a developer, and what does a developer need more than anybody? He needs salespeople. He's not working back there for nothing. So the idea is, how do we educate instead of sell? And going back to that verticalization, I believe that I can sell UCAS faster to a company if I target it towards a sales organization. Now, there's many ways to sell, but I'm saying for me personally, if I go in and I say, look, let me help you, because when I used to do work with Google, they used to have this thing called the land and expand strategy. Whatever you got to do to get in there, and I was in the Marine Corps. You know, anybody else here in the Marines? You guys know how the Marines work. They're a very small tactical unit. They cannot sustain themselves for more than 90 days. Their only objective is to land onto the beach, set up like a front, and they can only last for 90 days before the Army has to come in. So the Marine Corps is not very, and I was just right out here. I was in boot camp. Hated that place. But the idea here is to educate instead of sell, because when you're dealing with these companies, like I'm looking at this conference and I see all this stuff out here, and dude, I know 2600 Hertz very well. I think it's a phenomenal platform. There is so much you can do with it, but it's overwhelming. How are you going to articulate all of that stuff that it can do to a business if you don't compartmentalize it? Because you're technical, you're smart, and you assume everybody's smart. And I know if you're technical and you're an engineer, you think everybody's stupid. My father was an electrical engineer, and he thought everybody was stupid. Because that's how engineers think. Very logical, and they just think they're the smartest people, but they can't even match their clothes, and they can't even dress. But everybody else is stupid. So the idea is, how do you take these simple concepts and basically message them to the right group who has money? I mean, if the people who don't have money, they want to, like, people are terrified right now to spend money for the company. They're scared because they don't want to take on that risk, and all of a sudden it doesn't work out. Salespeople are getting more and more expensive. If you live in LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, if you want a decent sales rep, decent, you're looking to spend at least $100,000. And he's not even all that, or her. Like, that's just basic. Good salespeople are going to cost you about $180,000 in LA, New York, Chicago. And guess how much time the average salesperson actually works? Take a guess. I have all the stats. 4 hours. They work on average 4 hours a day. You know what the average tenure of a sales rep is? Who? 2 years? 19 months. You know what the average onboarding time for a sales rep is? How long it takes? 6 months. Who said that? You're right, 6 months. Recruiting time, 3 months. So by the time you factor in all of those costs, right? Think about this. You're factoring all these costs. A salesperson only lasts 18 months. And again, remember, I'm being very specific. I know people have high turnover in their sales department. I know that. And I also know that companies are spending a lot of money on office space. And did you know that almost 60% of companies still do not allow their employees to work from home? 60%. Google spends all this money making sure their offices are beautiful so you come to work. You think they want you to go work from home? No, they want you in the office. That's a big misconception. People think, oh, you're Google. No, they want you in the office. They spend all that money on that office. They want you in there. But did you know that when people work from home, especially in Los Angeles, New York, they will actually stay with you longer if you allow them to work from home. And guess what? They're happier. And guess what else? They work more. People who work from home actually work more. But in order to do that, you got to have the right type of technology.